the Knights of Warhammer 40,000. Back in the age of technology, the golden age of mankind, many pioneers traveled to faraway worlds. Their destinations were pre-scouted and categorized as habitable worlds. But habitable worlds did not always mean safe worlds. Some worlds were full of dangers that made it impossible for colonists to travel outside. To resolve this, they used STCs to create powerful bipedal engines. These towering machines smashed any threats to mankind's new domains and allowed colonists to work in hazardous environments. For example, the Knight's Reaper chainsword was originally used for cutting down trees. Anyway, such machines became common sights on hostile planets. Colonists named these machines after the warriors in old legends from Earth. The warriors in armor that protected the innocents, the Knights. Knights look like Titans, but much smaller. But remember, Titans are huge. So on the battlefield, Knights are still large enough to crush tanks and infantry alike. They're armed with powerful weapons and ion fields to block incoming attacks. With such power, even a single Knight can change the course of a battle. Not just anyone gets to pilot a Knight suit. Only nobles from Questoris Familia or the Knight houses can do that. Each Knight suit is a legacy of a Knight house. When a young noble reaches their 18th year, they must undergo the ritual of becoming. This ritual connects a noble to the suit for the first time. One must pass this ritual to control the throne mechanicum, the control center of a Knight. Some unfortunate aspirants fail and go mad during this process. A young noble's own emotions during the ritual also affect the machine. It will henceforth affect the pilot as well. Even after the noble dies, such emotions linger on in the throne, whispering to the next pilot to take up the seat. Knights were voluntarily serving the colonists in the beginning, but over time the throne's mechanicum altered the minds of those who piloted them. They refused lowly labors, such as logging and mining, and became nobles of the planet. The worlds that Knights ruled adopted a feudal system. They rejected advances in human technology and were slowly sidelined. But who knew that would save them from what was coming? Humanity's fall was swift and terrible. Emergent psychers drowned worlds in warp storms, and the thinking machines turned against their masters. But the Knight worlds had burned psychers as witches and rejected thinking machines, citing the value of hard labor. So they did not suffer all these calamities directly. For thousands of years, the darkness of the Age of Strife persisted, but the Knight worlds endured, though it was far from easy. Then the Emperor united Terra under his rule, allied with the Mechanicum of Mars, and began the Great Crusade. Numerous fleets marched into the void to reunite humanity, and the Knight worlds were rediscovered one by one, with Knight houses pledging their loyalty to either the Emperor or the cult Mechanicus. The natural resources and military might of the Knights were valuable enough, but the archaeotech of ancient times was something the cult could never give up. So the cult built forge worlds and sent tech priests to Knight worlds. Over time, they became dependent on the cult. After the long Age of Strife, the Knight worlds had lost the knowledge to maintain their own suits. Although local technicians and artificers did their best, it was simply not enough. But the Mechanicum provided all they needed and repaired the dying suits. Because of this, nearly all suits of Knight armor bear the mark of the cult, as a reminder of the debt they owe to Mars. However, the relationship between the two is not always an easy one. Even those who swear fealty to the Fabricator General of Mars, the Questor Mechanicus, are strong-willed warriors with a long history of honor. They simply do not follow any commands without question, a fact that has frustrated many a cynical and duplicitous Martian priest. Questor Imperialis, the ones who serve the Emperor, are even more difficult. They often mistrust the secretive Mechanicus and keep the tech priests at arm's length. But there is one thing both Mechanicus and Imperalis houses depend upon, and that is the training of sacristans. They're the artisans who maintain the suits, which are sent to nearby forge worlds and learn the ways of tech priests. Some Knights forsake their houses to wander alone amongst the stars. These Knights are known as Freeblades. There are various reasons for a Knight to become a Freeblade. Freeblade nobles become ever more bonded to their knight. Most of them actively search for a worthy cause to uphold, while a few become reclusive and only protect their hermitage. The influence of chaos is so strong that virtually nothing is safe from it. Even the great imperial knights are no different in this matter, with knights that are corrupted known as chaos knights. Because the Knight House nobles are famous for their unshakable loyalty, even so much as speaking of their treachery can be considered blasphemous. It is whispered that imperial officers who claim to have fought traitor knights get accused of heresy and executed, but that doesn't change the fact that chaos knights are real and their numbers are growing. During the Horus heresy, half the Imperium turned against the emperor and joined the arch-traitor Horus. The Code Chivalric dictated that knights must obey their masters and answer all calls to war. Basically, any knight serving a traitor master made them traitors themselves. They fought imperial troops, enslaved the populations of the cities they invaded, and destroyed monuments dedicated to the emperor. Even if they knew what they were doing was not right, it was their duty to follow their master's commands, right? Knight houses corrupted in this manner are called iconoclast houses. The part of the machine cult that joined Horus are called the Dark Mechanicus. And as you can guess, they didn't leave knights alone. To the suits of the knights that had sworn fealty to them and the suits they salvaged from battlefields, the Dark Mechanicum performed various rituals and experiments. The way the thrones functioned was beyond their knowledge, but the Dark Mechanicum wasn't restrained by fear of the warp. With the volumes of morbid data they had gained, they infused warp energy, summoned demons, and opened warp rifts to corrupt the knights' suits and thrones. Nobles that fell to chaos through bonding with these twisted knights became the progenitors of the infernal houses. The corrupted cockpit of these knights goes through a horrific transformation. The pilot is parasitized by manifolds of dendritic relays and become ever more twisted by warp energies. Over time, the pilot's body spills open like a rotten carcass, forming a cage of splayed ribs and exposed organs. The preceding pilot sits on this mess, so that over multiple generations, such thrones take on the appearance of a morbid rose of flesh and gore. I hope you enjoyed the lore comic. It's made by the talented Dong Gool Troll. I'll link his blog and Amazon page below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to our little channel to become a member of our ever-growing Imperium of subscribers. Thank you. Until our next adventure.